In the fourth and final installment of our series about building relationships for mortgage loan originators, we're now going to take a look inward at our teams and how we can begin leading in a way that drives relationships with our LOAs, our junior LOs, or our processors and our underwriters. Now, of course, the roles within your organization may differ, but the concepts remain consistent and effective. And in the words of my first official sales manager, he said, Ed, nobody cares about your clients, your pipeline, or your paycheck as much as you do. So don't expect anyone else to work harder on your files than you're willing to work. And so I submit to you, perhaps the most important relationships we'll have in our loan originator career. But frequently and unfortunately, often the most overlooked. What are some ways that you can assure that you're focused on and paying attention to this critical element of your career? And most importantly, this critical element of your client's experience. Here's 3 simple keys to think about that will lead to better relationships with what some call your internal relationships, your internal clients. Number 1, be the leader that you'd like to have. Ask yourself, would you want you to be on your team? And be honest, sometimes it's a tough question to ask of yourself. Would you want you as part of your team? Job titles aside, as a loan originator, you're the captain of the ship. And your clients look to you to lead them and lead your team to their goal. And you can't expect more commitment and effort from others on your team than you're willing to make yourself. Ask yourself, are your expectations of your team reasonable? And are they clearly communicated to the team, especially considering the model that you're providing? Are you practicing what you preach? Let your words and your actions be congruent. Number 2, the right approach with the right person. You know, each person on your team is driven by different desires and personal goals. Do you know what they are? Have you taken some time to get to know the why behind each of your key players? When you take the time to learn what makes your teammates tick, you can help put them in situations where they'll thrive. And in turn, so will your business. Number 3, people work harder for appreciation than they do a paycheck. You know, it's a common complaint in most workplaces. You hear it all the time. They just don't appreciate what I do for them and what I do for the team. So ask yourself, how often do you let your team know how valued they really are? Again, as we've mentioned, do you take an interest in their interests? And do you sincerely ask about how they're doing? Very often, hard-driving, very successful LOs can be very, very task-oriented and forget the personal side of the business. Don't drop the ball in that area. And even if the personal stuff isn't really your natural state, make it a point to go there. Make sure you say thank you often. It just creates trust. It creates loyalty and a team that's willing to overcome obstacles, oftentimes without even being asked to overcome those obstacles. We mentioned in part 3 of this series, the Zig Ziglar quote about having everything in life that you'd ever want if you'll just help others get what they want. Well, it certainly applies with your internal relationships as well. And when you sow the seeds of good communication and appreciation within your team, your clients, and your business will reap the benefits.